your morning dose of coffee and sports. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3. Catch the show live weekdays from 6 to 9 on Double T 97.3 FM or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app.
Just a couple of comments from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Very excited for the Texas Bowl. We could not have gone to the Cheesy Bowl. That from Dan in Dallas.
All right.
Yeah, which is
for Dan.
It's nice to meet Dan in Dallas. A week or so ago, there in the stands on the east side. The Cotton Bowl is still a New Year's Six bowl, and in the CFP rotation, great bowl. Tulane just had a great year. Shots fired by Chuck. Ha ha. Yeah, you're right. I mean, all those things are still accurate. I guess I'm just stuck in 1986 and still would like to kind of have my New Year's Day the way that I'm accustomed to, or was accustomed to. Many of us were accustomed to.
You're stuck in 1986?
Well, maybe.
So you're really not any better than the Rose Bowl that we've been making fun of?
I'm better than the Rose Bowl.
You are?
Yeah, I'm better than the Rose Bowl.
You should have told me that when I was making fun of the Rose Bowl last week.
No, it's okay. I'm okay with that. It just struck me odd when I saw that last night. It's like, oh, who's in the Cotton Bowl? Tulane. Ugh. Tulane. Barely have a football team. But anyway, how about the Cowboys?
Well, they did beat the Big 12 champion.
K-State, yeah. That was early on in the season.
I don't care. They did.
I know. It seemed like a fluke at the time. It's like, even K-State was like, we lost to Tulane. How does that happen? And I'm sure those people that left that stadium like, Tulane? How do we lose to Tulane? They barely have a football program.
Well,
I guess a blind squirrel every once in a while finds a nut. Right?
Are you talking about the Kansas football season this year?
Sure, that too. Yeah. No, I think that people would say that as well. Blind squirrel on that as well. I mean, they're 6-6. I mean, that's a great year. That's like a hang a banner kind of year for them in football. There's no doubt. How about the Cowboys last night? They look like
who will send more fans to their respective bowl game? Tulane to the Cotton Bowl or Kansas to the Liberty Bowl?
Kansas to Liberty.
Well, the Cotton Bowl is bigger. Okay, there's more seats there.
That doesn't affect how many fans go.
Right.
How many tickets are available.
I think people from Kansas City and Lawrence and the small little teeny tiny towns like Wellington and whatever will flock to Memphis. They will descend upon Memphis like we did last year. I think it'll be a full house between the suey pigs
but
of
those
Arkansas.
Folks don't go to the Kansas home games?
No, they did. They did this year.
Okay.
They did this year. Yeah. But that's fair. No, that's extremely fair. They won't drive the 40 minutes from Kansas City to go to Lawrence for a football game, but by God, they'll get on planes and trains and automobiles and go to Memphis. Right. So They're front runners. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
I bet Tulane will be pretty excited. I bet there'll be a lot of Tulane fans at the Cotton Bowl.
I just don't know how many. I wonder how many Tulane graduates will be there, because there can't be that many Tulane graduates.
What do you mean? What do you mean there can't be? Like they don't graduate people?
Well, it's I don't know how big a school it is. It's, is it about what, 16,000, 10,000? I don't know.
You act like it's Wayland Baptist.
It could be. I'm gonna do a quick little
14,472.
There you go.
Year.
There you go. There you go. Can't be that many. So I was right. Can't be that many. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. I wanted from Lucas. I don't know if this is our Lucas or a different Lucas. I wanted the Cheez-It Bowl purely for the souvenir shirt. I'm excited. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. I'm excited about the Texas Bowl. I like the matchup. Playing Mississippi teams in back-to-back years is funny. Yeah, Mississippi State last year, Ole Miss this year.
I do think Ole Miss is a good football team, so it's somebody to get excited about, and it's SEC, so that's always fun.
Yeah.
The school that is now Tulane, which had a couple of names beforehand, was founded in 1847.
Okay.
So let's just say that they graduated people every year.
Right.
There could be an awful lot of Tulane graduates out there of varying ages.
Okay. I'm curious if we have any Tulane graduate listeners this morning, and if they got their cars packed for the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. So Green Wave Unite. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Green Wave Unite and wave your flag this morning here on the Morning Drive. Be glad to salute it for you. Meanwhile, the Dallas Cowboys looked like a real team in the fourth quarter last night, didn't they? I mean, they're
So until the fourth quarter,
they outscored them 33-0. I mean, the Colts were in the giving mood last night.
They were
54-19. Cowboys outscored them 33-0 in the fourth quarter. I don't have the number, but I'll try to look it up. But man, I got to tell you, I'm going to guess that the Cowboys have never scored 33 points in the fourth quarter.
I think that's probably a pretty safe bet. They've played football a long time and been good a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
But I bet you're right.
And just the fact that they were able to do that. I mean, they went into the fourth as a little wonky. I mean, they were playing pretty good. I didn't necessarily feel like the game was in doubt, but I mean, it was what, 21-19.
I thought it was in doubt.
Going into the fourth.
Yeah, absolutely, it was in doubt. Just a 2-point game. You thought it was over?
I didn't think it was over, but I mean, I just felt like the Cowboys were going to win. I felt like when Jeff Saturday and the Colts started chasing points with the 2-point conversion, I thought that was a little early for that. The Cowboys.
it was a 1-point game.
Yeah,
The 2-point game would have put them in the lead.
No,
would have
tied it.
Would have tied it.
Yeah, would have tied it. This was with 3:43 to go in the third quarter. Then the Cowboys come right back and they score.
I think I'm with you in that situation. I'm still taking the one at that point.
Yeah.
Still not into the fourth quarter. Yeah, but I don't think that suddenly made me feel like, well, they're chasing points. This game's over.
I said they're chasing points. I didn't feel like it's
game.
I didn't feel like it's over. But then the Cowboys come right back.
Yes.
And with 13:52 to go in the fourth, they go up by 9. And then you have the Malik Hooker fumble return. Then you have a Tony Pollard run. Then you have a Zeke Elliott run. So, I mean, it was, curtains pretty quickly in the fourth quarter for the old Bolts.
You're tuned in to the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3, recapping the night that was in the world of sports.
That's not to say that they don't respect the run game that you have, but you're talking about one quarterback leading the conference in passing so far this year. And remember, he didn't start the first game.
All right.
Still played a lot, though.
And also bringing some humor to your day.
I just don't want to disappoint you. As much as I disappoint you, I don't want to disappoint you in some things that you expect from me.
Hear the show live weekday mornings at 6 on Double T 97.3 or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app.
Time for this day in sports history. Today is the 5th day of December, 2022. Here is Jeff McGuire.
One of my favorite things in sports dissolved today in 1943.
Okay.
And it's just the concept of it is why I like it. The NFL Philadelphia Eagles Pittsburgh Steelers merger dissolved. They merged together because they didn't have enough players to have a team because of World War II. So the two cities came together, made a team to keep playing, and they didn't need to play anymore in that way because guys came back and they could field a team. So it dissolved today. Teams doing the right thing so they can keep playing. I like it.
Sad.
1956, 17-year-old British swimmer Judy Grinham and American Carlin Cohn both swim world record 112.9 in the women's 100-meter backstroke at the Melbourne Olympics. Grinham is awarded the gold medal.
Okay.
Were they swimming downstream? I mean, 2 world records broken on the same run. That seems crazy.
I don't know if they were swimming downstream. They were probably swimming in a pool. That would be my guess, so there's no stream. But I was not at the Melbourne Games. So.
Our humor today is really not working out well. That was supposed to be a joke, track. I mean, they keep track of
wind
if there's wind aided or whatever.
They could have had the jets pushing. There's a possibility.
Sure. Thought maybe you swimmers did the same thing, but maybe not.
Had the jet stream in the pool going.
Oh, yeah, a little nozzle there. Where it comes out. And
I guess they didn't have
on your back.
hundredths of a second on those stopwatches at the Melbourne games, huh?
Probably not computer aided on the time touch either.
Right.
1970, LA Rams Willie Easton sets an NFL record of 247 yards rushing. 3 years later, Chicago Cubs' Ron Santo becomes the first baseball player to invoke the 10-5 rule and veto his trade with the California Angels. 1978, free agent Pete Rose signs a 4-year, $32 million contract with the Phillies, becoming the highest paid baseball player.
$32 million?
$32 million, 4 years.
Wow. It's $8 million a year, isn't it?
Yes, sir. It is. Arkansas.
1981, the 47th Heisman Trophy is awarded. Running back, Southern California, Marcus Allen.
He was pretty good.
He was really good.
1984, the A's trade Ricky Henderson to the Yankees for Jay Howell and Jose Rijo.
How'd you feel about that trade?
I was a fan.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I liked Ricky Henderson. I really liked how he'd get underneath a fly ball and snap his glove, and then he would snap it down and slap it against his waist and then pop the ball up in the air. I was a big fan of that. And Ricky Henderson's one of the few players you will ever see that throws left-handed and bats right-handed. It's just not something you see it the opposite way.
Yeah, you see it the opposite way. Yeah.
Texas Tech had a guy here that did that pretty well. Played first base for him. Eric Gutierrez.
He did that too?
He did that too. Yeah.
Did you ever ask him why?
No.
Okay.
Well, when you hit with the opposite way, your power is coming from that. And so if he throws left-handed, your power would be coming from your left hand, your left arm, I think. That gives you more power.
It's like golfers.
And so that's why it's better to hit the opposite way if you have the coordination to do it.
It's like golfers. A lot of left-handed people play golf right-handed because their left hand is the strong hand coming through.
Right. I think that's one of the reasons for doing it. I sure do like the swing of a lefty better, though.
Yeah.
It's just prettier.
1990, Blue Jays trade future Hall of Fame Fred McGriff and Tony Fernandez to San Diego for Roberto Alomar and Joe Carter.
That was a big trade. Big trade.
And in 2008, former NFL star O.J. Simpson is sentenced to 33 years in prison for kidnapping and armed robbery.
He was trying to get his own stuff back. Just stupid. Just stupid. He gets gassed up at a pool party and learns that his stuff's there. He's there for a wedding. The next thing you know, he's involved in some kind of armed robbery, and then he gets put in the hoose cow for several years.
It is National Comfort Food Day. And something that I fully support.
What's your comfort food, Jeff?
There's something about macaroni and cheese on a day that it's just fun. Also, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. There's some comfort there.
So when I think of comfort food, I think, like, if I'm not feeling well, what do I want?
Oh, not feeling well?
So I guess that's kind of different than comfort food. Yeah.
When
I'm thinking about if I'm feeling down.
Ice cream. Ice cream's a good comfort food. Usually something that involves not good for you. That's usually where the comfort food goes.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of Pizza Huts here in town that used to do the all-you-can-eat buffet.
That's comfort food.
One on 19th Street, 19th and University. It's no longer there, and then one on 82nd Street in Indiana. It's no longer there. There'd be times when I would be like down in the dumps and I didn't want anybody to see me or find me, or I just went and hid out for lunch for an hour and devoured 10, 15 pieces of pizza. Whatever it took, made me feel better.
It's good.
It's also
it's a Mountain Dew for me.
A Mountain Dew.
Yeah, I'm not feeling well. I'm like, just give me a Dew. That'll help.
It's also Repeal of Prohibition Day.
Okay.
So go have a nice
Carrie Nation got her way, I guess, huh?
Yeah. Happy birthday, former Red Raider basketball player Corey Carr is 47.
Oh, yeah.
Christian Yelich, 31. Justin Smoke, 36. Notre Dame women's basketball coach Muffet McGraw is 66.
Muffet?
Muffet.
I think she's retired now.
Did she sit on a tuffet?
Quite possibly, but she's got several national championships, so she can sit where she wants. And Jim Tressel is 70. On this day in 1945, 5 U.S. Avenger torpedo bombers comprising Flight 19 take off from Fort Lauderdale Naval Air Station in Florida on a routine 3-hour training mission. After completing their objective, Flight 19 was scheduled to take them due east for an additional 67 miles, then turn north for 73, back to the air station after that, totaling 120 miles. If you know where this area is, that's the Bermuda Triangle, folks. Ooh. And they were never seen again.
Oh, ouch. Mm.
And that is this day in sports history.
All right, we will march forward. Lots to get into today that we have not discussed, but we'll get there eventually.
This is the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3, getting you ready for today's sports day.
3 of the first 4 games have been at home, so at some point in time you're going to have to venture outside the 806, so that'll start this week.
While having a little fun along the way.
Always good if you can blame it on somebody else, right?
Yeah, sure.
Especially some media guy.
Sure. Right, some media guy.
Catch the show live weekday mornings from 6 to 9 on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3.
Taking everybody's thoughts about Texas Tech headed to the Texas Bowl. That'll be on Wednesday, December the 28th. Red Raiders will face Ole Miss in this one. Red Raiders coming off of a 7-5 season and coming off of 3 straight wins to end the year. Everybody feeling really, really good about things. Coach Joey McGuire met with the media last night, and this was his opening statement, what he kind of felt like, overview, the bowl, team, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
I actually just truly landed from recruiting and was fired up, really excited. Got to play in the Texas Bowl in 2018, and they do an absolutely phenomenal job. So excited to play in that bowl. They treat the players right. It's a great atmosphere. I expect our fans. It's good that we're in Texas and playing in Houston. It's going to be good for recruiting, but it's also going to be really good for our fans. I mean, if I'll be shocked if we don't sell out our ticket allotment and ask for more. And we should have a ton of Red Raiders in NRG, and we're going to play a great opponent. So excited. Don't know a lot about them other than they've got a really good young running back and a really good older running back from North Shore and really good quarterback, and got to the only time I've seen them this year, I got to watch them, kind of in a turkey comatose on Thanksgiving in the Egg Bowl, and that was kind of back and forth. So haven't got to sit down and watch them much, but really think a lot of Lane Kiffin. I think his humor and what he brings to college football is much needed. I think sometimes we take ourselves too serious, and he does a great job of really making light of a lot of things that should be making light of. And then offensively, I think he's one of the best minds in the country, and it seems like we've faced a lot of those guys like that, and he's really good. So we're excited to play Ole Miss and be in Texas and be in the Texas Bowl.
I thought the Lane Kiffin comment was very interesting. I heard you chuckle. And I was like, I never really heard Lane Kiffin referred to like that his humor is much needed.
No, I liked it too. Yeah. I liked his comments.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Lane Kiffin he's not afraid to kind of laugh at himself and laugh at the powers that be in college football and just kind of make jokes about it. So I thought Coach McGuire's comments were dead on, and I'm glad that others appreciate that.
So that's his thought specifically on the overview of this. Here's what he said a little bit later on with regard specifically to Ole Miss.
Tempo on offense. There are 10, 11 personnel, really, really good backs. And then defense, kind of an odd stack, which we've seen a lot this year, physical group. But, at one point in the season, and I don't know enough about them yet to where was it injury, what it was of, why they, ended up, dropping some games. But I think at one point they were 7-0, a top 10 team, and they were, flying around and playing really well. That's the team they are. That's a team I expect to play in Houston, so we got to be ready to play, a team like that. And I do know their young running backs are really, really good.
That's Joey McGuire. What do you think they're saying in Oxford this morning about the Red Raiders? How would you classify if you were sitting in Oxford, after you've done your hotty toddy yell for the day?
I wouldn't bet there is. I don't mean to say disrespectful, but I don't think they fear the opponent probably as much as Red Raider fans fear the opponent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is that fair to say? I mean, they were ranked inside the top 10 this year.
Yeah,
we can never sniff the top 25, so
they might classify the end of their season as. I'm sure that they would as a disappointment.
No, that's great. I hope they do. I hope they stumble their way through both practices and show up hungover from the disappointment of the end of the year.
Do you think I'm wrong on that?
No, I don't.
Yeah, that'd be my thought. They'd be like, oh man, whatever. We just got in. We're there. We're blah blah blah. Oh, sucks to be us, so to speak. But anyway. They did not crack the final top 25 of college football rankings. I'm scrolling through this real fast to make sure that I'm wrong on this, but I'm not. Mississippi State's at 22. Troy's in the top 25 at 24. UTSA is in the top 25 at number 25. So no, they did not. All right, so that's a couple of comments that Joey McGuire made. He did say, Jamie, that Tyler Shuck would be the starting quarterback, and said that he did say that Tyler Shuck has a decision to make, and then said probably at the start of this year before the injury that he would have felt that Tyler Shuck would have come out and been into the draft. So. We'll see kind of how this is going to be. He said that Baron Morton is still not 100%. He cited Shuck being the starting quarterback as the way that he played since he's come back, and the fact that Baron Morton's still not 100%. He did not, nor was he asked about Donovan Smith. So he didn't say we're going to have packages for Donovan. That really wasn't the setting for that last night. He just made it clear that Tyler was going to be the starting quarterback and that Baron Morton was still not 100%.
Yeah, I don't think that surprises anybody, right? Or maybe not the Baron part, but I mean that Tyler's the starter.
No, I'm not surprised that Tyler's the starter. I just don't. It just kind of. I guess it surprised me a little bit that Baron's not 100%, but I don't know the severity of that ankle. He did say that he practiced last week. Threw the ball, but wasn't running around like you would normally expect to get ready for a game. Mm-hmm. The other thing that he said, and I thought this was pretty interesting, is that SaRodorick Thompson is ready to go, that all he had from the Oklahoma game was a bone bruise that he ran and lifted last week, and if there had been a game, he'd have played. Okay. So I guess I didn't realize that injury was that to the point where they were wondering about it. Mm-hmm. But that's what he said about SaRodorick. So other than that, there wasn't any other kind of player notes. He did talk about the transfer portal a little bit. He thinks it's a good opportunity for players. He's discussed ad nauseum about his philosophy of taking Texas players who want to come back. Of him wanting to build his team through high school and develop, but they would take the occasional transfer portal player. He did throw out a number. He said it's a scary number for players that go into the transfer portal, and I don't know if this is the actual number, but he said there were like 19,000 players that entered the portal and like 7,000 that transferred. He said so there was a lot of players, and he just said this, that basically threw away their job by going into the transfer portal.
That's fun.
Now, if that's an accurate note, because that's 12,000 players that basically didn't have a spot to go. So, if you're disgruntled, you probably got to make sure that you've got a place to go before you quit your job. It's
like leaving early and heading to the draft. You better make sure somebody there wants you before you decide you're going to go.
Right. Do you think Tyler Shuck would be drafted if he left based on what you saw from him the last 3 games of the season and what you've observed of him?
The measurables are there, so yeah, I bet he'd get drafted somewhere.
Yeah, the question is, would he get?
I don't think it would be early. To
the right spot and to a place where he would be able to excel and have time to grow, so to speak. It's anybody's guess, right? Or would he be better off coming back and playing another year?
I mean, I don't think he's going to step into a spot where he's a star in the NFL or anything like that. So, I feel like Tyler Shuck would be better off coming back to college for another year.
Okay.
You're listening to the Morning Drive podcast from Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3, recapping the night that was in the world of sports.
A little bit later on tonight, we'll have the Astros and the Diamondbacks. That'll be at 8. And then the Rangers playing at Seattle tonight.
And also bringing some humor to your day.
Was it pretty big?
Yeah. I mean,
impressive?
Yeah.
Was it fascinating?
I thought it was fascinating. It kind of smelled, but I mean.
Hear the show live weekday mornings at 6 on Double T 97.3 or on the Double T 97.3 mobile app. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is presented by Bizarre Solutions. Call them today for a free cybersecurity audit.
7:32 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Time for your question of the day. What did you think up for us over the weekend? Did you think about us over the weekend?
Of course I did.
Okay.
Of course I did.
Were they good, happy thoughts, or were you like
extremely happy
how
thoughts.
You can replace Jeff and I? Mm-hmm. You can't replace Jeff. You can easily replace me.
Yeah. How pleased and appreciative I am of Jeff's hard work.
Yes, absolutely.
I thought about that, and then I thought about you being at the Lady Raider game yesterday.
Okay. Mm-hmm. We talked about you at the Lady Raider game just briefly, just a second. Just a second.
Not in the broadcast, right?
The phrase "every time" came up.
Oh.
I said our baseball friend Jamie Lent. Yeah. Just like as our baseball friend Jamie Lent would say, every time.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You owe me $5.
Okay. Royalty fee. Yes, sir.
Okay, so my question for you today involves Big 12 bowl games.
Okay.
I want to know what you think will be the most entertaining matchup, and I want you to tell me what you think has the potential to be the biggest blowout, where our Big 12 team, gets it handed to them.
Oh.
I guess, you know what? If you want to be positive and say where you think our Big 12 team will blow somebody out, you can do that too.
Okay. I think it's funny that Baylor has to play at TCU's place for the Armed Forces Bowl against Air Force. I think that's funny. I'd be really curious to see which team wants to be there between Oklahoma State and Wisconsin at the Guaranteed Rate Bowl in Phoenix.
That to me has the potential of the most boring.
Yeah.
Because that's a decent question. Although maybe the Wisconsin guys are excited that they finished their season a little bit better than expected.
Their quarterback's so excited that he went into the transfer portal about Luke Fickell.
He's super excited.
Yep. I think the KU Arkansas game has a chance to be entertaining, although I can certainly see that the Arkansas group wanting to really put it on the Jayhawks for so many different reasons. I mean, there's just the proximity between the two schools. You got the redneck hillbillies versus the snobs. I think that the Woo Pig Suey will really get annoying to the KU people, and they'll get drawn off sides. So I think that has an interesting matchup there at the Liberty Bowl. I think Florida State's going to boat race Oklahoma. So I'm gonna say that Florida State is going to boat race Oklahoma, and then the second game that I think could really have a not very top 10 matchup look. It just depends on how interested Alabama is in being there. Is in the Sugar Bowl that Alabama could really put it on the Wildcats. Jeff?
I kind of like all of these games in different regards. Like, it is funny that Baylor's having to play at TCU and take on Air Force.
Well, just be careful. I mean, we weren't too far from doing the same thing, and Baylor put it on us this year. So be careful laughing at them.
It's the
irony.
The irony of it.
Yeah, it's just the irony of it.
Oklahoma State, Wisconsin, very much. Who wants to be there? I don't know that either of those team wants to be. That so many questions about that game, but I also think that if neither of them wants to be there, it could be an entertaining game. If both of them want to be there, it could be an entertaining game. Kansas is going to be as excited about any bowl game they're in.
No doubt.
I don't know how Arkansas feels about playing Kansas, but Liberty Bowl's nothing to sneeze at.
Mm-mm.
I like Tech and Ole Miss. I think it could be a great game. Oklahoma's kind of a circle. I think Florida State's going to beat Oklahoma by a lot. I guess that's the upset. But I could also see that going the other way, too. If Oklahoma is as explosive as they have been at times during the year in the middle of games, if they can put it together for the bowl game. Washington, Texas feels like a close matchup. Kansas State, Alabama. I don't know that Alabama wants to be there. So give me Kansas State in that game right now. And then you've got the college football playoff, which could be the most lopsided with Michigan and TCU, because I think Michigan's a much better football team. But it's also a college football playoff game. How can you not think that's going to be a fun game? I like them all. I don't know that there's necessarily a dud unless it's both teams being a dud. So I'll say the dud is Oklahoma, Florida State for being just the blah game. Most entertaining could be the college football playoff with TCU and Michigan.
I didn't know that my question was this difficult. Which game is going to be the best and which game is going to be a blowout? Okay.
We have a tendency on these multi-part questions
Jeff,
to really complicate it.
I don't think either one of you answered which game is going to be the best. Okay. My blowout is Michigan over TCU.
Okay.
That's my blowout. Okay. I think the best game is Texas and Washington. Two ranked teams. I think both teams will want to be there. I know Texas didn't want to play in the Alamo Bowl, but I think they'll be excited to play Washington. Mm-hmm. I think it'll be a good atmosphere there. I mean, those are two quality teams. So I think that one will be the best game. And again, I think Michigan will roll past TCU.
You think Michigan will roll past TCU? Okay.
So that's my blowout.
That's your blowout. And what is your dud again?
That was the question. Which one was going to be a blowout and which one was going to be the best game?
Okay.
There's no
dud in
those
there.
Were something that you two brought up.
We brought up duds. We added duds to it.
Again, you guys were asked to answer a question.
We complicated it.
Write an essay, and it has to be 500 words or more.
Yeah.
And I was just asked to answer a question, and I just answered it.
Right. No,
if I had just said I don't know, I'd get accused of giving it a pass. So I was trying
each
to come up
one
with
of
an
you
answer.
broke down every single game and just didn't answer the question.
Yeah, right.
I say each one of you, both of you.
Both of us. Yeah. Both of us.
I'm not mad at you. It's who we are.
Yeah.
Kind of feels that way.
I'm chuckling, Jeff.
Yeah.
Our differences are what I won't say that it makes us work because I don't really know that this works, but
I'll just say this. I'm bummed because I've always wanted to go to the Liberty Bowl, and we were all set to go to the Liberty Bowl last year, and I tested positive for the COVID, and that blew us out. And this year, my schedule just doesn't work to go to the Liberty Bowl. And if I had my choice of going to a bowl game, I would go to. I would go to the Texas Bowl over the Liberty Bowl this year, because part of going to a bowl game is all the pomp and circumstance ahead of it. You got to have your fun at the bowl game before the bowl game in case your team loses. And I think it'll be a hell of a lot of fun to be in Houston.
Getting your sports day started the right way. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, breaking down the biggest games.
If Texas Tech does not win the Big 12 football conference, who are you rooting for to win the conference if Tech does not win it this year?
Well, busting some chops along the way.
I hold back on sending you stuff. I mean, I'm very, very, very judicious.
We spend 3 hours a day, 5 days a week together. Why would we need to communicate during the weekends? Save it for the show.
We do. We save it for the show.
Tune into the Morning Drive live weekdays from 6 to 9 on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3.
Thank you for being with us today on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com. Yates Flooring Center chat line is open. Go to the Double T 97.3 mobile app. It's presented by Happy State Bank, and you can participate there. What do you think about Deion Sanders going to Colorado?
I think it'll fail miserably.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, he is feels awful sure of himself. It's an understatement, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Understatement of the morning.
You just meeting Deion Sanders?
No,
he's your kind of people.
No, he's not my kind of people. That's not true. That's inaccurate.
No, I think you're normally pretty sure of yourself.
I'm sure of myself, but I'm not like Coach Prime. I think he's on his own planet.
It's probably fair.
He's on his own.
It's 100% fair.
You know, I think you've got to have self-confidence, because if you don't, then just get lost in the wash, so to speak. But you don't want to be too braggadocious, right? Don't want to be too out there. I don't think I'm too out there. Do you think I'm way out there? I'm way out there by your standards, though. I know that.
No, man, you're good.
What humble brag, I do this the best. Somebody wants to know why you think Deion will fail.
I just, I think it's a different level that he's going to be coaching at now.
Mm-hmm.
I still think it's going to be harder for him. I don't think he's going to be able to out-recruit all the other schools in the Pac-12 like he was
in the SWAC.
Schools in the SWAC.
Yeah.
And so I just think, I'm not saying he's not a good football mind or anything like that. Obviously, was great player. But, I just think it's going to be more difficult in the recruiting trails there.
Somebody says, have you seen the video of PJ does of Deion meeting with the team? Yes, perfectly sums up Deion. Yeah, where he tells them, basically, I'm bringing my own luggage. Y'all better hit the transfer portal.
Why is he allowing that to be, recorded and broadcast?
I don't know. That seems senseless.
I don't know, man. That's just too much for me.
Joey McGuire was asked last night about his quarterback, Tyler Shuck, in terms of, does he expect Tyler Shuck to come back next season? Here is the head coach.
He's got a decision to make. I think it's he's played really well. I think at the start of the year, before he got hurt, he would tell you he'd declare for the draft. Every scout that we talk to, feels like that he has a future on Sunday. And so if he comes out and plays well in this bowl game, does that make a decision where it's like, I think I'm coming out, or does he come back? And at the end of the day, we've got some really good quarterbacks, and you're kind of sitting there going, I expect Tyler to be the starter in the bowl game. One, because he's played the way he's played, but then two, Barron is still, not 100%, and so he took snaps last week. We practiced two practices last week with our young guys, and we had him out there. All he did was throw. He didn't do anything else or hand the ball off, but he's still not 100%, and so I expect Tyler to be the starter there, and then he's got a decision to make, and understanding no matter what the decision is. Told y'all a million times, you can't be the toughest, hardest working, most competitive team in the country and then hand jobs out. Everything's earned around here, and so we'll see how that goes after the bowl game.
So you asked Jeff a question this morning.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I don't think I'm going to bother either one of you by talking about your conversation off the air. You asked Jeff if he was surprised that Donovan Smith's name was not brought up. Jeff said no. Not surprised with anything. That's the first time I've heard those comments from Coach McGuire. Way, maybe reading into this. Too much.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels to me like every time a question came up about the quarterback, and then he started talking about, well, he's definitely the starter. One, because, he's played well, and two, because Barron's hurt. And then, and then we'll see after the year, but we've got good quality quarterbacks around here. It's just surprising to me because it feels like all season long there's been what's the term? Lip service for all three of the quarterbacks.
He's mentioned them all in every
anytime that if you were going to ask him to talk good about one of them, he was going to make sure to talk good about all three of them.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
And Donovan Smith's name was not mentioned at all.
Mm-mm. And
so what does that make you think? Or worry, or not worry, wonder. What does it make you wonder?
I guess the after the fact is, since I was there, I feel like I should have asked about Donovan, but he was there to talk about the bowl game and the excitement, but he was asked about Tyler Shuck coming back, and then he's the one, Coach McGuire is the one that volunteered that Tyler would be the starting quarterback and that Barron had practiced and that Barron is not going to start because he's not 100% yet. And then he didn't bring up Donovan. Now, in fairness to him, he'd just gotten off a plane. He'd been in a meeting to talk about Ole Miss and the offense, all those things.
I don't think there's any reason to be critical. I don't think you need to say in fairness to him. I mean,
but what I was going to say to you,
I don't think he did anything wrong.
No, but in complete fairness to the whole thing is, yes, every time he talked about the quarterbacks, he talked about all three of them. And I think I missed 2 Monday press conferences this year. So I was there for every away game or every home game, post-game press conference. And so anytime that the quarterbacks were brought up, all three of them were discussed, with the exception of last night. So
I guess I'm just going to say that makes me wonder, is Donovan already decided I'm just going to start trying to find my new home and not be there for the bowl game?
It makes you wonder.
It makes me wonder.
Yeah,
I'm not going to put words in your mouth. It makes me wonder.
No, I agree with you, because that's why that's why as I got to thinking about that, not necessarily last night, but this morning, and just thinking about it and going, man, he didn't talk about Donovan.
Yeah. It didn't seem odd to you, Jeff, and you're fine to say no.
Jeff's been at every one of these availabilities.
We have heard so much about that room, and all of it is contradictory.
Not all.
I'm now expecting Donovan Smith to be your starter.
Not all of it. You can't say all of it.
Like, in the offseason,
he has said Tyler's going to be the starter this week, and he started. So you can't say all of it.
Okay, it feels like. How about 80% of it? 70% of it?
Well, I don't know what percentage of it, but I mean.
And it's fine. Like, it's fine. I'm not upset, but they could tell me that Saraja Thompson's going to be your starting quarterback for the bowl game. I'd be like, okay, cool. I'm just numb. I'm numb to the quarterback conversation.
Okay, you might be numb to it, but he's not been. I don't think he's been contradictory. I don't think you can use that word.
All three guys are battling for the quarterback position. Oh, Tyler Shuck was head and shoulders above everybody. Oh,
that's
well, now we're going to
have
now we got Bram. It's like we've heard it all.
Oh, we heard plenty that was contradictory. I'm not arguing with that.
That's fair.
Okay.
That's a fair statement.
Okay,
that's fair.
I don't know. I think it.
You think there's something there?
I don't know. It makes me wonder. I'm just going to say that. Okay. And this may be one of those times where we're totally like out of bounds, trying to look for too much, and that would also not shock me. But it's just surprising that he has always mentioned all three.
Yeah.
Always mentioned all three, and that he didn't mention him at all.
He did not.
He didn't say, I mean, every other game is, and we'll have packages where Donovan will see plenty. What did he say the last time? Last time we heard from him after the game, we're going to see Donovan Smith all over the field, right?
All over the field. Yeah. No, every place but defense, basically. And then we may still.
And then that may be the case, but
we may
that's
still.
surprising that he didn't get mentioned.
Yeah.
I don't think it means that he doesn't like Donovan anymore, that he doesn't want to play Donovan, or he thinks Donovan's terrible. I don't think that. I wonder if it means Donovan has said, hey, I'm not going to play. I'm going to start trying to find my new home.
I think that's a fair question.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3. For more from Lubbock Sports Station, go to doublet973.com.